Go through a lot of key elements of the Lexus phenomena. Again, although you're driving a Cadillac right now, which is an excellent car, you say it's an 87.
Right.
It's well engineered. It has the high output 4100 V8 engine. That Cadillac, although it's a long wheelbase car, which is the same situation we have in the LS400, has a front-wheel drive configuration. When we move towards the front of the Lexus 400, if you'd like to come over here, someone's left the hood open for us, but something I wanted to show you. You've read some of the enthusiast magazines, and I think it's important that you've also read the information from the article that was published on the Society of Automotive Engineers regarding the overall engineering of the body shell to match the performance potential of the engine. Someone, fortunately, has left the hood open for us. But if you look inside the LS400, something that you're going to see, number one, is that although this vehicle is a high-performance automobile, it has 4 camshafts, it's a 32-valve design, puts out 250 horsepower, 260 pounds of torque, etc. Rather than bore you, although you wouldn't be, with all of what it could do, because you're going to see that, you're going to experience that. What I want you to look at is that not only is performance measured in the sense of how fast it goes, but in regards to your particular work, the servicing or maintenance or taking care of this engine has been analyzed to a point where not only is everything user-friendly as far as your configuration of fluid levels, getting to the engine and working on it, but they've also laid out the different components in a very, very progressive way that makes it easy when you bring the car in for service. Now, in the line of work that you're doing, you don't have time for someone to try to figure something out. What they've done on the LS400, besides matching the performance potential of the drive shaft that is in a straight line for smooth, vibration-free connection to the rear drive wheels, because I did emphasize this is a rear-wheel drive configuration. That's so important, not only in the sense of your handling and your overall drive comfort, but it allows certain characteristics built into the car that I think you're going to appreciate. But that is something you'll experience, and I think, in fact, I'm quite confident you'll be able to judge the difference between some of the other cars in the market and how we've interpreted what this performance vehicle should be. But the point that I was making is that when you bring the car in for service, you're going to enter into a whole new era of simplicity of approach in regards that if you have a question, you'll be able to work directly with a technician. He'll have a online either floppy disk or direct connections with the Lexus headquarters to make sure the car's not only fixed right the first time, but there's that open line of communication that's so important. But getting back to the overall aesthetics of the car, because we're both on the same mindset, it's so easy to get stuck on some of the technology. Of course, again, 250 horsepower, 260 foot-pounds of torque, etc., V8, 32 valves, rear-wheel drive. But performance is also measured when you look at the overall aerodynamic design of the car. The performance criteria has been matched in the sense that this has a drag coefficient of 0.29. That not only maximizes the engine output, but it also provides something that's new in the luxury car market, real airflow management as far as the way the air works itself, not only for vehicle comfort, but underneath the car, and I won't request that you get underneath the car. If I could, I'd flip it over on its roof because it would not only be able to handle it, but you'd see that the art of beautiful automobile engineering was also applied to the underbody design of the LS400. It has a shield for airflow management, little spats, so for the front suspension components, airflow is not just a kind of bump and grind proposition. It's done in a very intelligent, very, very forward-thinking way, not only in the sense of making the car go fast, but making the car's overall ride quality and performance quality match what the engineering department for the engine and the transmission has done. When we move to the side of the car, something that I think you'll appreciate is the fact that you've got large wheel arches, that the front end of the car comes around in a blistered effect, not just for a styling cue, but what this does, it not only manages the airflow around the wheel, but it also provides, and you mentioned to me that you do a lot of traveling in the snow, you can get a chain on there, and if that chain should snap, you've got rubber underneath here to protect these panels, and right underneath here again is that performance edge, because it's just like a triathlete. A triathlete just doesn't concentrate on being well at running. They do everything quite well, and that's the way they've approached this car. Vinyl body color keyed vinyl cladding underneath there. It not only is resistant to chipping and dents, etc., but what it does, it also helps the exterior design of the car maintain this overall high quality look. I say that in the sense that all of the cars in the marketplace look wonderful. The competition has never been stiffer. But in the sense of the approach to the LS400, they use an Exolite 2 steel, which is a new steel that has a good draw quality. In other words, when that's stamped, and I love talking with you because you understand exactly what's gone into the car. What it does is that when it comes out of the dies, it's straight, it's easy to put the primer on it, which for a base coat, clear coat paint gives you much better overall paint quality. And when you look down the side of the LS400, it doesn't look good, it is good. All the panels fit, everything is put together the right way. Now, a true performer doesn't just get out there, like I say, and do one thing well. It does everything well. And then if you come over, right over to the left here, I want to show you something else. When I open both of these doors, in your line of work, you're going to be carrying a lot of people. Sure. And what's really important is that people, as far as a business car, aren't concerned about whether or not a car looks good. It's that it looks good and it's also useful. The doors open wide. It's easy for you to get in and out, which I'll cover in just a little while. But something I want you to hear that you have not heard and you won't hear anywhere else is that there's a certain quality to advanced engineering. We come back to the side of the car, you notice it's a long wheelbase car. It's got a nice wide stance, which they've covered in a number of different motoring journals. And their comment was that the car was breathtaking. It did this well. It did all the criteria that the other automobiles did. But what's most important is that the approach they took to the suspension was that the car not only had high-speed capability, because the tires are VR-rated tire, they'll do well over 130 miles an hour, but they're alternate suspension systems because the front of the car, of course, is double wishbone, independent front suspension, but the rear of the car is also an independent rear suspension. But combined with the automatic air suspension design, which is computer controlled. It's the first time in the history of the automobile industry a computer has been able to diagnose different road conditions. But as we move around the back of the car here, and I'm taking you on a slow savoring process here, because as we go around, you'll notice that not only has the engine, the drivetrain been matched to the car's performance criteria, but there's not only not a bad line on the car, but it's unlike anything else on the road. In Lexus, we have a philosophy. We're not here to compete. We're not here to knock, and we're not here to say good or bad things. We're simply here to point out a fact rather than an opinion. On the LS400, it's unlike anything else that you'll find on the road. And in our interpretation of a performance luxury car, you'll notice that the design of the car is simple, clean, and elegant, but it's also really functional. Although I do recommend that when you clean the car and keep it up, because I do get the opinion that you're going to want to wax it and keep it up, that you take into consideration that on base coat, clear coat paints, there are types of protections that we can recommend that Lexus has already researched that will really benefit the anti-aging design that's gone into the car. Anti-aging means that on the interior of the car, they've already analyzed how sunlight and other deteriorating factors are going to affect the overall appearance of the car. As we move around the back of the car, the trunk release is inside, and of course I can pop that up, and as I pop that up, I would be able to point out to you that it has low sill, CD changer inside the trunk, because this particular model has the optional CD changer. But more importantly, a couple of attentions to detail is that it's fully lined, fully trimmed, and there's also a first aid kit and a tool kit, which you probably will never use on this particular car here. But a lot of times, if you need a screwdriver, a wrench, or something else, or a flashlight, it's nice to know that it's already equipped in the car. And a lot of times, people will already assume that you would have it in the trunk of your car. 5-mile-an-hour bumpers, front and rear, wraparound taillight design that has another nice feature in it. Both of these lights work at night, so when you open up the trunk at night, getting off work and all that, you can see where this leading edge is. But also these high visibility lights wink when you put on your blinkers if you're changing lanes, etc., and they're very, very visible because they wrap around. And this feature that they've used here, this is really interesting. It's a very strong polycarbonate, but the lights behind it have a very intense, bright light when they shine. So not only are they very attractive, but they're very, very functional and very, very usable. Dave, if I could have you come over here for a moment, something else I'd like to point out to you. In engineering the LS400, beauty, performance, and the other areas of a car's overall caliber have been taken into consideration. But when a lot of folks talk about cars, it's like the 0 to 60, like straight line. What we like to think is that innovation is like the other side of status quo. And when we look inside the interior of the car, there's something I want to show you. If you'd be so kind to have a seat right there. Okay. What I want to point out to you is notice how easy it is for you to move your legs in and out. Right. And if you'll press in the center console to your left right over here, Dave. See this right here?
Okay.
It's soft. This material here is soft. Notice the attention to detail as far as the trimming. Leather on the interior is a leather-trimmed interior, but most importantly, these side panels are trimmed in leather. And you'll notice that California walnut, which they have Yamaha, who does the wood for the company who does the wood for Yamaha, has been chosen to do the wood on the interior of this car. Not just for appearance sake. Unlike some of the other guys out there, this is real wood, but it's designed to match the overall theme of the car. If you'll just hold on a second, there's something else I want to show you that you'll find remarkable. On the interior of the car, we have the first electronic tilt and telescope steering column. It also has a supplemental restraint system, which we always use with our shoulder harness. It has a button to adjust your shoulder harness, which is real important. A wide variety of different people will be driving the car. It has a wide variety of seat adjustments to the seat to get comfortable, which I'm going to set it all for myself. But when I tilt this steering wheel and I pull it up towards me, I want you to see the path clearly taken, because when this dash panel engages, it doesn't light up, it doesn't just flash, but when it engages, it's going to display a whole new approach to monitoring what this beautiful new drivetrain has been engineered to do. So if you'll be so kind as to put that shoulder harness on for me right now, I want to give you a glimpse of the future of automobile engineering. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll give each other a hand on that.